Life will run you over if you allow it to. But do I look like roadkill? I ain't think so. Just a few weeks ago, I was feeling so ashamed that at 34 years old, I am literally starting over from the ground. Just when I was starting to get comfortable in adulthood, life was like, what's up? And I was not ready. She definitely threw them hands. Okay, I got beat up. But it's okay. I don't operate well in comfort, and that's just the truth of the matter. I always need a little fire under my ass to get things done. And this time is no different, all right? I want to take a moment to thank everybody who took the time to comment on my last video starting over at 34. I am so grateful to everyone who shared their stories. People of all ages shared their stories of triumph or shared that they could relate to the season that I'm in life. To be honest, oftentimes when you're in a rough patch, it feels like you're alone, but y'all's comments really relieved so much stress. I felt like y'all surrounded me and gave me a group hug. And I'm Southern, I love hugs. And I really needed that because I uploaded that video from such a vulnerable space. And I'm so glad that y'all received it with grace. Y'all received it without judgment. And that's what I aim to do on this channel. Build a community of transparency, of truth, where we can keep it real with each other. And we can also talk about those phases of life that we like to kind of keep hidden. You know, on social media, we showing our highlights. No one's going to show you the bad times on their highlights. And I just truly aim to have a community where we can talk about everything. So a couple of those comments truly shifted my perspective on my situation and really touched me. And I really want to highlight 3 comments that just made me feel so good. But honestly, all of them may feel good, but some of them just really like struck a chord with me. And so I want to share 3 comments and I want to talk about it and share my thoughts and just thank y'all for coming in. I want to say that one more time. Thank you so much for just receiving my video with so much love. And some of these comments are lengthy, so please pause the screen if you want to read the comment in full. I'm just going to give my opinion about certain parts of the comment, but let's get into it. Comment number 1. The first thing he said that struck a chord with me is when he stated, "Who cares what you're supposed to be doing? What needs to come now is acceptance and moving on." And woo, was that not a refreshing cup of cold, hard truth? And I needed to hear it because oftentimes I will sulk. I will cry about my situation and sit in this somber mood for a few days before I can come up out of it. And I really don't have time to do any of that right now. I really don't. So I need to devise a plan on what the next chapter of my life looks like. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then he goes on to state how he worked so hard to move away from his hometown. He was away for 10 years until a family tragedy struck and he had to go back. And he was sad about it because not only was he giving up his career, he was also giving up his lifestyle to go home and help out with the family. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise because he was able to buy a home as well as open up his own personal welding shop, and he no longer has to work for anybody. And so oftentimes these situations happens in our lives. What I took from that is like situations can happen and we see it as such a bad thing, but it's preparing us for something greater. And that's what his situation did for him. And I'm just praying that if I have to go home, this situation is preparing me for something greater. So I will be putting a plan in place. I will not go home and just be looking around like, oh, I'm here. Like, no. One positive thing that's happened to me so far is I know that going home is a high possibility for me. So I don't want to go there and just be there. I applied for this fashion school and they called me back last week and I have a meeting with the dean this Friday. So if I'm accepted, I'll be going in person twice a week, which would make moving home more purposeful. The next thing he said that stood out to me was when he stated, "I traded my passion for pittance." And oh my God, I can relate to this on such a spiritual level because me too. I feel like we all can get caught up in trying to survive, pay our bills, take care of our families, that we neglect the things that truly make us happy. And we trade our passions for a paycheck. just so we can, keep going, make it another day. And I don't want to do that anymore. So for me, applying to that fashion school was such a huge step for me. And let's say I'm able to stay in Mexico. If I get accepted into this program, I'm going back to Atlanta. No if and buts about it. Like, this is something I've always wanted to do. And so I do feel like everything in its right timing. And if it's meant for me to leave Mexico right now, then it is what it is. I'm going to go home with a plan in place so that I can make the most use of my time there. And when it's time to bounce, I can go to my next destination with more confidence and more trust and faith in my capabilities than ever before. Moving on to comment number 2, I also relate to on a deep level because after I graduated college, I worked a number of odd jobs. I was just trying to figure out what would stick. I was trying to find my place in adulthood, and nothing resonated with me. He also made a statement that I want to read because I don't remember it from the top of my head, but he said, I reflect a lot on my role in the demise of so many relationships with others. I reflect a lot on my relationship with the Lord and where I stand with him. At this age, I reflect a lot on what it means to be an adult more than ever. My 20s were like a long extension of my teens. Felt. Oh my God, I feel that so much. This has been my reality as well. I reflect a lot on things I could have did better, the signs I missed, and what my life would look like right now had I done all the right things. Adulting has not come with ease for me. I feel like it's been a constant fight to heal from childhood traumas, navigate toxic friendships, eliminate bad habits that I've let fester for far too long, making terrible financial decisions, and dating guys who couldn't love me properly because I was dating them from an insecure place. You name it, it's all there. Life is constant, adulting is constant, and if you're not constantly evolving, you're gonna get left behind. That's just the facts of the matter. I definitely relate when you say your 20s were an extension of your teens. That is exactly how I feel. And I now feel like my 30s are what my 20s should have been. And I'm able to navigate this situation that I'm in with a little more grace due to being a little bit wiser, a little bit more mature, and having more life experiences that I can pull from to know how to navigate it. So I'm definitely trying to keep my head up right now and just not let this situation break me, because it's probably gonna happen again. Like it's never gonna be a moment where you're just guaranteed for life to be good forever. Like, no, we all gonna go through some shit, and it doesn't discriminate on your age. It doesn't discriminate if you're rich or you're poor. Are you prepared? That's just, at the end of the day, are you prepared for when life throws you a curveball? Trust me, this is gonna be the final situation I'm in where I feel like I wasn't necessarily prepared the way I should have been. And the final comment is a gentle reminder to be grateful for how far I've come. We can get so caught up in accomplishing the next goal, doing the next thing, that we don't take a moment to reflect on just how far we've come and the growth that has happened during that period. I am so grateful for this life that I live. I could have never imagined it for myself. This life reminds me that I am the master of my destiny. I do not have to follow a script that someone else wrote. I don't have to feel obligated to live up to the expectations that others might have of me. This is my life and my life alone. And I truly feel like the last 3 years has been me sitting down and literally writing out my life as though I was an author. And I am just so grateful for the courage it takes to live the life that I live. I'm in awe, honestly, truly. I changed my life before, and I can change my life again. I want to acknowledge my power right now and not be afraid to step into my greatness. Sometimes when you're ready for that next level in life, it's so scary. It can be so intimidating, but I don't want that to deter me from my goal, from my path. Like, I want to keep moving forward even in fear. And that's where I feel like I'm at right now. Like, I literally cried last night to my mom, and she's like, girl, you cannot be out here preaching to people and not taking your own advice. And I was like, you right, you right. And it's like, okay, I will motivate the crap out of somebody else, but when it comes to trying to motivate myself when I'm in a season of, you know, I don't want to say despair, but confusion, that I can't see my way out of it. And so I want to get better at leaning into my power, not letting fear rule me, making sure faith is at the center, as though it was, you know, the lights that they have on like people who be underground. Like, I want faith to be my light, and I'm just following the light. I'm just following my faith. And so that comment, it just, thank you for just, like, honestly, for lifting me up. That comment lifted me up. It built me up, because I was feeling so sad about my situation that I didn't take a moment to show gratitude for the last 3.5 years of my life. Going home, if that is what is going to happen, is temporary. It's temporary. I can always come back. I can go somewhere new. I don't have to look at this as a period. It's more of an ellipsis, ... because the best is literally yet to come. I will not move forward with a spirit of fear, guilt, shame, or defeat. Every new day will be an opportunity for me to go after what I want in this lifetime. I will start over and over and over again, as many times as necessary, until my end goal is reached. With that being said, this chapter of my life is personal. I owe it to myself. I got something to prove. And I want to document this chapter of my life on my YouTube channel. I don't know what I would call it, but this does feel like a personal renaissance. It truly does. I want to look back at these videos and smile at my resiliency. I want to look back and laugh at me being overdramatic, knowing it was going to work out for me. That's what I want to do. This chapter of my life is very humbling. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a vulnerable place to be in. It's uncomfortable and it's unsettling as hell, but I'm going to continue to put one foot in front of the other. It's time to pivot again.